something on scanners. Say that again?
Everything looks normal so far.
Multiple contacts. Range is closing fast. What have we got?
Didn't show up a second ago. Just popped in.
That is not random. Get to the turret, now.
On it.
And hurry. Well, I hope you weren't planning on a quiet walkthrough. Never is. Splash 1.
Good kill.
2 down, 2 down. Scope looks clear. Let's get the hell out of here.
Sounds good to me.
Hey, you got any plans after this?
Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the MISC FREELANCER DUR. Let's go ahead and take a look. Welcome back to another review. Thank you, Cypher1, WinRAR42, What124, and Archangel8 for joining me on today's review, taking a look at the FREELANCER DUR. This ship is in a very interesting spot because it's not really useful right now. It is supposed to have a longer range scanner on it, as well as a fuel refinery on board, but neither seem to be working, and it also doesn't come with a different quantum drive as stated on the information sheet. Now, this ship is $135 if you were to buy it on the pledge store, or if you buy it in game, it's $3,316,950 aUEC. It's definitely not a terrible price, but you have to ask what this ship can do for you. Now, if you compare the look of this ship to the regular Freelancer, I think it definitely has some things that look a lot better. I do like a lot of the little, antennas and then the different engine cowls. I think it's not a terrible looking Freelancer variant, and it comes with an interesting stock armament on it, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But it's limited. If you compare it to the regular Freelancer or the Freelancer Max, it actually does less than both of those ships. Now, it does have a 12-minute and 59-second claim time, or if you were to expedite it, it is 4 minutes and 19 seconds. It's definitely a little bit high because, again, the usability of this ship compared to so many ships out there is very limited. Now, you do have a total burst damage per second for the pilot of 3,145 due to the 4 size 3 stock attrition 3 laser repeaters. These weapons come with an 1,000 meter a second ammo speed, so they're not the greatest, but honestly, this ship feels fantastic for PvE combat, with that being the stock loadout. So definitely not a terrible option to bring out for that fact, right? Now, if you're looking at your missiles, you do have 4 Arrestor 3 missiles, which are cross-section, and 4 Dominator 2 missiles, which are electromagnetic, which is great. The EM missiles are the ones I would prefer. Probably swap out those Arrestors for something else. Now, you also have a man turret in the back with a total burst damage per second of 1,091 due to the 2 size 3 CF337 Panthers. But just like with any Freelancer series, right in front of that turret is that really interesting wing that has no purpose to it, right? And it just kind of blocks the forward face of that turret, and you can technically damage it enough to rip it off your ship, which actually opens up a little space to have a better firing angle. Now, looking at the defensive nature of this ship, you do have 17,500 bubble shield that's active due to the 2 shields. You have 3 shield generators, and technically it should be 26,250 bubble shield, but at the current moment, only 17,500. And then you have a total armor of 3,720. Not good for this size of ship. 3,720 is actually very little on the armor. And then your health pool is also very low at 26,200. You have to realize that you technically have more shield strength on this ship than you do health pool, which is actually quite funny and very interesting if you look at it in a kind of a stats way. Now, when it comes to the shields itself, the shields do have a 25% physical resistance, a -7% energy resistance, and a 95% distortion resistance. The armor comes with a -15% physical damage and a +30% energy damage. Now, for the ship overall, it does have a penetration physical damage reduction of 25%, a penetration energy damage reduction of 40%, as well as a penetration fuse damage reduction of 30%, and a penetration component damage reduction of 40%. Taking a look at the ship speed, you have a top speed of 200 SCM with a forward boost of 403, a backwards boost of 205, and a top nav speed of 1,100. Definitely not terrible at all. And then if you look at the pitch yaw roll, this is where it gets pretty bad. You do have a pitch yaw roll of 34, 30, 103, boosted 41, 36, 124. It's definitely not going to be beating too many vehicles in its class, but it's not also all that bad either. It's just, I mean, you can't even put an ROC in the back of this thing unless you really smash it in there, and you can't put a Cyclone. I mean, you can put a Cyclone in there, as you can see right here on screen. You can put it in there, but good luck getting out of the seat. So you have to make sure whoever's going to be in that Cyclone, they just stay in the Cyclone. Now, it can carry Geos and, things like that, like the ICTs and stuff. That's fine. But ground vehicles are very limited to the very small ones. And then when you look at the cargo containers, you cannot put a 32 SCU. You cannot put a 24 SCU. It's 16 SCU or lower. Anything bigger than that, it will not snap to the grid, even though it has space for it. So technically, you can fit a bigger cargo box back there. It just will not snap to the grid, which is honestly too bad.
Get in here.
Now, you do have 48 flares and 5 decoys. That was 140 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 2.4 SCU of quantum fuel. So a good amount of fuel, and it definitely has more fuel than the base Freelancer, but not by too much. Now, this ship is supposed to be coming with a better quantum drive. It's supposed to be coming with a better radar or scan package, which it definitely doesn't. It's the same as the regular Freelancer. And then it's just kind of like, what is the purpose of this ship in the current gameplay? It's kind of lost right now, right? And then if you look at the cargo grid, which we'll take a look at here in just a second, it does come with 36 SCU of cargo on the grid. Let's go ahead and take a look at this ship. Starting at the exterior of this ship, you do have 2 entry points. One is this side entry ladder system here. You just walk up and it tells you press F to enter. You'll go ahead and do that. Now, sometimes this entry can be bugged, or depending on the server, you might get trapped between the door and the interior door, which is quite a funny experience sometimes. And then if you make your way to the back, this is the cargo ramp that hasn't changed in many, many years, including the noise that it makes, which is quite interesting. But this leads you to your other entrance. Now, when you have big boxes back here, it's a 50% chance that you are actually going to make it past that box and be able to enter any part of this ship. It's not impossible, but it's definitely quite interesting. Now, if we take a look over here, this is your initial Now, if we take a look over here, this is your initial cooler right here. And this cooler, taking a look, is the Froststar EX Size 2 Civilian Grade C cooler. This cooler, there's 2 of them on this ship, and it has a total cooling generation of 34 with a power consumption of 3 and a total health pool of 350 on this component. It's definitely not a terrible cooler, but there are better options that don't take up nearly as much power. So there's the second one right next to that. And then if you look right above it, there is one of your shield generators, one of the 3. Now, the shield generators that come on this ship is the 5MA Chimali Civilian Grade C Size 2s, and they come with 8,750 health pool per shield generator. Now, the shield generator does have a total maxed regen of 689 HP a second, a damage regen delay of 5.5 seconds, with a downed regen delay of 11 seconds, and a health pool of 410 HP per generator. Now, there are definitely better options, and we'll discuss that here in just a moment. Now, if we go ahead and turn around and take a look at the other side of the ship, you do have one of your, this is your quantum drive right here with the jump drive right above it. You do have the Odyssey Civilian Grade C quantum drive, which of course I'll give you a recommendation on that as well. And then if we make our way to the next door, here is one of your power supplies. There's another one of your power supplies right here, and the shield generators above them. So taking a look at the power supply itself, you do have 2 of them. It is the Size 2 Daybreak Civilian Grade C power generator with a total of 18 max power generation per, but again, it only goes up to 30, so 18 is kind of a moot point, right? Because it doesn't really work that way. Now, you do have a distortion shutdown damage of 3,950 with a total health pool on these as 470, so it is recommended to go ahead and switch these out as soon as possible. And on the side of the screen, you're going to see my recommended loadout for this ship, so go ahead and take a look. And then over here, you got a fire extinguisher, as well as a relay portion right here. So you do have some relays on board. And then this little door here takes you to, and go ahead and open that up, the life support system. So there is the life support. And then if you walk through here, you do have the fuel refinery, as well as the advanced scanning package right here in this room. But this is primarily the refinery portion, right? Because the scanners are all on the exterior of the ship. But it is pretty interesting. Nothing that you can use with this just yet. And then if you make your way through here, another cargo room that you can actually fit the 1 SCU containers through the door. I was able to do that. Or you can use this exterior EVA airlock to fit the boxes through, which is also a very interesting way to do it. But you can put a bunch of 1s or 2s in here. The 1s will probably be a lot easier to do. Now, if you make your way through this door right here, you do have a nice bathroom over here, to which I will not be entering. Well, maybe a little bit. So you do have a nice sink. You got a nice toilet area, nice little med kit. Let's go ahead and close that door. A nice little shower up there too. Now, right behind that, you do have yourself a nice kitchen area, which usually you can go ahead and open up this door, but it won't let me. Why not? We'll go ahead and take a look at the next thing, which is the engineering terminal. We'll go ahead and open that up. Let's see if that door is on the system here. Doesn't seem to be. I can't seem to access that functionality via the engineering terminal, which is too bad. But you do have the engineering terminal showing you the weapons on board, your systems, your rooms, your doors, your connections, everything that you need here. So that's pretty cool. So we'll get out of that. And then if you make your way over here, you do have the beds of death. And I would be very careful about entering these beds because you can get locked and stuck in them right now. There is a bug with these beds. Now, if you enter one of the beds, you typically get locked and then you have to escape to the menu. Or if you look right at your feet, and it's a really kind of hard thing to do, and you just keep hitting F, you might have a chance to get out of there. But they're also escape pods. So very frightening idea to lay down and be wrapped up into a bed area as an escape pod. Quite interesting. And then you make your way up into the cockpit of bugs as well. So you do have 4 seats in here, which I've always personally felt the freelancers should not have 4 seats up in the cockpit. I feel like 2 is plenty. The other 2 aren't really needed, especially since your turret is manned. But here we are. We do have 4 of them. And then if you are in a co-pilot seat while someone's flying, more than likely you're not going to be able to use your quantum system. It is currently bugged at the moment when you try to do that. But I'll go ahead and hop into the pilot seat. You can see the mailbox view that you have just like in any MISC ship. Quite very interesting, as well as a nice little roof above you, so you can go ahead and take a look there. It is a pretty nice looking view, and you do have quite a few MFDs, which is pretty nice. But let's go ahead and take off and move on to my score. Now, To be honest with you, this thing can do PvE perfectly fine, and I don't even need to really show you that. I just want you to know it can do it, especially with the weapons it has stock on board. PvE won't really be an issue. Of course, it is a multi-crew ship in the sense of how big it is, and the fact that you might want to have somebody back there putting out fires, and if you have any big boxes in the back of the ship, there's a good chance you're not going to even be able to get to your components. So be very careful about what you're hauling, when you're hauling it, and if you're getting attacked, because it's not going to end well for you. Overall, with the limited ability of this ship, the price point, and the fact that so many other ships can do so much more than this when it comes to carrying vehicles, when it comes to being able to just do a lot more, I would have to say this ship for me is a 62 out of 100. It is rated lower, even though it does look nicer than the regular Freelancer. It's just limited on the cargo aspect, as well as the fact that you can't carry as many of the ground vehicles. You can't put an ROC back there. At least it's extremely difficult to and not worth the hassle, when for a few dollars more, you can honestly get a Freelancer Max and carry a Nursa or a Rock or both. Or, you know, there's a lot of better options, including the C1 Spirit, the Cutlass Black, the regular Freelancer, and that's kind of where I'm sitting at this point. Thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed. Of course, you guys are all truly amazing, and let me know what you think of this ship down in the comments below, and I'd really appreciate it. You guys are truly the best, and I'll see you all in the next one. If you're building a new PC, go through longshipindustries.com, a veteran-owned mom-and-pop business that takes pride in every single build. He built my personal rig, which you can actually see featured on the website. The care, warranty, and customer support are top tier. Trust Longship Industries for your next build.